compare to your contemporaries? I mean, I'm imagining a lot of casting directors who have had the success that you have had, or maybe a little intransigent, and they want to do it the same way over and over again.
Yeah,
Because they're basically like, don't change the landscape until I retire, until I die. And
what
you're
I find,
out there disrupting.
I'm a little bit, I'm not sure how everybody feels. I think there's the part of them where they're supportive. They think that's a really good idea as long as it doesn't like interfere too much with my process,
Yeah.
So like today on the app, I have a quote by a wonderful casting director, Deborah Zane. And I love Deborah, and she's done like, I don't know, so many great movies. Gary Ross, I think she did Hunger Games and different things. But I don't know that she would be as actively in social media because that's just not what her thing is. Yeah. But what I was going to say is like, there are probably some younger casting directors that will embrace this more. What I even found with choir is the associates are the ones who are really digging it, and they're creating it for their bosses. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I'm trying to muddle my way through technology and wanting to understand it and create it. But I feel like ultimately casting will always be about the human connection for me. Like even when I do auditions, I want to be in the room. I'm a bit too much of a control freak in this way. Like I like to be in the room and read with them. I don't want to just like have somebody else do it and me look at it on a monitor. I think that's why I love doing theater so much. Last year I cast the play Bent, which was at the Mark Taper Forum. Mm-hmm. It was a revival of a very well-known play with Richard Gere from the 80s. And Moises Kaufman was the director. He did the Laramie Project. He's a brilliant guy. And it was a very challenging play to cast. And I just love that. Because Actors Equity doesn't even want you to have a camera in the room, which I don't agree with because I wanted to have the camera because I want to come back and look at things. And I think it's ridiculous for the Actors Equity to say you can't have a camera in the room unless the writer is not there. Or so, they have all these different rules. I think that we need to use technology and continue to use technology, but I feel like, again, the reason Equity is saying that is they want that live experience. They want the actor to be given, sort of the grace of the live experience and not just be relying on tape. So I feel it's always going to be a bit of a dance for me because there's a lot of old-fashioned parts that I want to do. Like I tell my assistants all the time, call them. What do you mean?
Yeah, right.
Call them. No, I don't believe that they said they're coming in.
Can I just snap them?
Yeah. Yeah, and there is like this situation like now, okay, fine, I understand it's much easier to put out appointments by pressing buttons and, people come in, but then there's no nuance. Mm-hmm. And nuance is everything to me. And so I think that having those kind of connections are not gotten. And often, as we all know, email conversations can be really estranged.
A lot can be lost in translation. The technology you've created, I would say, is pretty disruptive, but it seems like it's only benefiting what you do.
Yeah, and I don't think it's disruptive in the end because I think what I'm doing is I'm not bypassing anyone. I'm just sort of like another publication.
You're making your job easier or making others' jobs easier.
Yeah, and also I want to empower the actor. The actor's going to do better when the actor is empowered. That's absolutely. They need to know what's going on.
Do you have these kinds of conversations with, more entrenched people in the industry, like studio heads, or I know you get together. I've run into you once before. You're having dinner with or beers with a bunch of casting directors.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
Do you have these kinds of conversations with others? I mean, they look at you as like this maverick, this cowboy when you walk in the room. Cow woman.
I don't think they care about me that much. No? I don't. No, I think that's not. I wanted to get into the technology because it's super interesting to me to understand where things are going and to be able to create something that was outside of the box. And I think that most casting directors, they're not as hybrid. But there are. I mean, like my friend Mary Verneu's got restaurants, Mm-hmm. I mean, there's people who do other things. I think the fact that I felt like it's important to be transparent is probably the maverick thing. Because I don't think everybody would want to. I feel like sometimes I've gotten in trouble where, like, Los Angeles Magazine did a story about me and the way I cast a movie years ago. This was about over 10 years ago. It was when they do an Oscars issue every year, and they watched me cast a movie called The Man from Elysian Fields. And it was a movie directed by George Hickenlooper, who's since passed away. It starred Andy Garcia, Mick Jagger, Angelica Houston, James Coburn. It was a beautiful movie, and it was an independent movie. And I wanted to open up that process to the journalists because people didn't understand how things got cast. Like, why couldn't I just cast the best actor? And there was a lot of conversation during that movie casting, and that the journalist was able to get about how they would say things about, no, they have no foreign cells. No, you can't, they're not relevant. And I would be there like being the champion of the actor. And some studio people who saw that, like, were like, no, you let them in behind the curtain. And I'm like, yeah, like, why not let everybody know? I think right now, if you look online, you can Google more interviews about casting and articles about casting than 5 years ago. People have realized, like, come on, let's get the story out there. It's okay.
We want to know how it works.
It's not like this magic